Let me tell you something most people never realize until it's too late. Life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. That statement right there changed everything for me, because we live in a world where people are waiting. Waiting for someone to come save them, waiting for the economy to improve, waiting for motivation to strike, waiting for the government to fix their problems. But here's the truth. Nothing changes until you change. It's not the weather, it's not the economy, it's not your parents, not your boss, not your friends. It's you. When you change, everything around you begins to shift. You see, life responds to the person who takes responsibility, not to the one who makes excuses. You can hope and wish and pray, and those things have their place, but they're not substitutes for responsibility. Hope is beautiful, but it's not a strategy. And while you're hoping for things to get better, someone else is working. While you're wishing you had a better body, someone is out jogging at 5 a.m. While you're talking about your dreams, someone else is building theirs quietly. And the difference between the two, change. Not the kind that happens to you, but the kind you choose. The kind that begins with a decision. I've had enough of this version of me. That's the moment life begins to shift. When you say, this is it, I can't keep living like this, I must change, and not should, and not maybe, and not someday, must. That level of urgency will rearrange your entire mindset. But most people never get there. You know why? Because they're addicted to comfort. They'd rather stay familiar with misery than face the unknown of growth. But let me ask you, which is more painful? Changing your habits or living with regret? Change starts with something simple, awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. You can't fix what you're pretending isn't broken. And too many people lie to themselves. They tell themselves they're fine, that things aren't that bad. They minimize their pain just enough to tolerate it. But the longer you tolerate, the more you stagnate. Change begins the moment you get honest with yourself. Brutally honest, not cruel, just clear. This is where I am. This is what I've become. And this is no longer acceptable. From there, the next step is ownership. And let me be very clear, nothing changes until you take ownership. Not partial responsibility. Not it was their fault, but I played a small part. No, 100% ownership of your decisions, your habits, your time, your attitude. That's the beginning of transformation. Because as long as the problem is them, you stay powerless. But the moment it becomes you, you're free. You can't always control what happens around you, but you can absolutely control who you become in response to it. And that's where all the power is. So let me ask you, who do you need to become to create the life you want? Don't start with what do I need to do, start with who. Do you need to become more disciplined, more courageous, more consistent? Do you need to become someone who finishes what they start? Someone who honors their word? Someone who stops chasing quick fixes and starts building long-term habits? Because here's the secret. Your results are a mirror of your character. If your life is disorganized, your thinking probably is too. If your relationships are toxic, your boundaries probably need work. If your income is stuck, your skill set may be outdated, and none of that is permanent unless you refuse to change. The good news is this: you're not stuck, you're not cursed, you're not broken beyond repair, you've just been living by an old story. And stories can be rewritten. You can wake up today and decide to change everything, not overnight, not magically, but steadily, consistently, intentionally. That's how real change happens. You don't tear your life apart in one day. You outgrow your old life piece by piece. Change isn't a one-time decision. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment to becoming more every single day. And yes, it's hard, growth hurts, it's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, to say no to things that once gave you pleasure, to face your fears without flinching. But on the other side of that pain is power. On the other side of discomfort is freedom. You just have to be willing to walk through the fire of transformation to get there. Most people won't. Most people will stay the same, repeating the same year 75 times and calling it a life. But not you. Because if you're listening to this, something inside you is awake. Something inside you knows there's more to your story. That this isn't the final chapter. That your future is still unwritten. And your pen is still in your hand. And all it takes is one choice, one shift, one moment of truth where you decide, this is no longer who I am, I choose better, I choose growth, I choose change. Here's the reality of life that most people miss. If you want more, you must become more. Not wish for more. Not ask for more. You must become more. Life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. And that's the foundation. If you want more success, become more valuable. If you want more money, develop more skills. If you want stronger relationships, become a better communicator, a better listener, a better giver. The world doesn't give you what you demand. It gives you what you deserve based on the person you've become. It's easy to point fingers at circumstances. It's easy to say, I was born poor. I never had the right connections. No one ever helped me. And that may all be true. But here's what's more important. What are you going to do now? Are you going to let that be your life story? Or are you going to rise above it and decide that your future is going to be designed by growth, not defined by excuses? Every day you are either growing or decaying. There's no neutral. If you are not intentionally developing yourself, you are automatically falling behind. The marketplace is not sentimental. It doesn't reward people for effort alone. It rewards people for results. And results are created by skills. Skills are created by learning. And learning only happens when you make a decision to invest in yourself. Not once, every day, let me give it to you straight. If you want a better life, you must become a better version of yourself. That means you don't just go through life, you grow through life. That means you stop blaming your boss, your city, your economy, and you start working on becoming so strong, so competent, so sharp that the world can't help but take notice. That's what it means to become more. You don't get promoted because you've been at the job for 10 years. You get promoted because you've become too good to ignore. You don't attract great people by hoping for them. You attract them by becoming someone worth being around. You don't build wealth by saving every penny. You build it by creating value that multiplies. And value only increases when you do. Now here's the challenge. Growth hurts. It's uncomfortable, because to become more, you have to leave behind what's familiar. You have to give up small thinking. You have to sacrifice distractions. You have to stop wasting time on entertainment and start feeding your mind with wisdom, ideas, knowledge, strategies. You have to read the books, study the masters, practice the craft. You have to say no to things that keep you average. And yes, it's hard, but so is staying broke, so is staying stuck, so is living with regret. The difference between those who change their life and those who don't comes down to this. Some people treat growth as optional. Others treat it as oxygen. The ones who change their life are obsessed with becoming better. They take notes when others are talking. They stay late to learn something new. They spend their weekends building skills while others party away their future. They understand this one truth: the better you get, the better your life gets. Don't chase money, chase mastery. Because when you become the best at what you do, the world will find you. They'll seek you out. You won't need to beg for opportunities. They'll knock on your door. Because greatness cannot stay hidden forever, but average always disappears into the crowd. The goal is not to be the loudest voice. The goal is to be the sharpest mind, the strongest spirit, the most refined skill set in the room. And here's what's remarkable: every single day, you are writing your resume with your actions. Every conversation, every task, every hour of study or procrastination is a vote for the person you're becoming. You don't become more overnight. You become more one decision at a time. You decide to wake up earlier. You decide to listen instead of talk. You decide to practice instead of coast. You decide to delay gratification and play the long game. Those small decisions, when compounded, create a new you, and that new you is capable of handling the life you dream of. Most people are chasing something they haven't built the capacity to handle. They want $1 million, but think like someone who wastes 100. They want success, but can't manage their mornings. They want influence, but can't handle criticism. And that's the gap between what they want and what they've become. The key is not to lower your goals, but to raise your character, raise your consistency, raise your capacity. Success doesn't ask for permission. It requires preparation. And preparation starts by becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for life to change, but who decides each day to outgrow yesterday's limitations, to become wiser than yesterday, more focused than last week, stronger than last year, because life always rewards the person who has earned it. You can have the most vivid dreams, the biggest goals, the most inspiring vision boards, and the most passionate declarations. But none of it matters without one thing: discipline. Dreams are the spark, yes, but discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire alive. Discipline is the bridge between what you imagine and what actually becomes real. And that bridge isn't paved with motivation. It's built with repeated, deliberate action, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Motivation will come and go. Emotion is unreliable, but discipline stays when your feelings quit. Discipline means doing what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's the part most people never master. They wait for energy. They wait for a perfect day. But those days are rare, and waiting is expensive. While you're waiting for inspiration, someone else is building skills. While you're debating whether to work out, someone else has already lapped you 3 times. Discipline doesn't ask if you're in the mood. It just asks, will you do it anyway? The truth is, discipline doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't come with fireworks. It's quiet. It shows up in the way you start your day, how you manage your time, what you choose when nobody's looking. Discipline is invisible to others, but deeply visible in your results. You don't have to announce it. People can see it in your habits, in your routine, in your work ethic. It shows in your body. It shows in your bank account. It shows in your reputation. The world can tell when someone lives a disciplined life because consistency leaves clues. And here's the real secret. The more disciplined you are, the more freedom you gain. Most people think discipline means restriction, that it takes away your options, that it locks you into a box, but the opposite is true. Discipline creates freedom. When you're disciplined with your health, you gain the freedom of energy. When you're disciplined with your money, you gain the freedom of choice. When you're disciplined with your time, you gain the freedom to pursue what truly matters. Discipline is the cost of freedom. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you'll stay imprisoned by your own habits. But let's be honest, discipline is uncomfortable. There's nothing glamorous about it. It's waking up when it's easier to sleep. It's saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It's showing up again after failure. It's going for a run when the couch is calling your name. It's reading the book instead of scrolling. And nobody claps for you. There's no crowd, no applause. It's lonely, but it's in that loneliness that you separate yourself from the average. While the world seeks comfort, you seek growth. While they indulge, you prepare. While they complain, you build. Discipline doesn't eliminate struggle, it sharpens you for it. When life punches you in the face, and it will, discipline is what helps you get back up. It gives you the resilience to keep going when it feels like nothing is working, because you've trained for it. You've practiced discomfort. You've developed internal strength. You've already proven to yourself that you can push through, that you don't need perfect conditions, that your habits are stronger than your mood. And that's power, quiet, unshakable power. And what's beautiful about discipline is that it doesn't care where you start. You don't need a fancy degree, a wealthy background, or a perfect plan. You just need to begin. Start with one thing. Wake up earlier. Keep a promise to yourself. Make your bed. Go for a 15-minute walk. Read 10 pages. Turn off your phone after 9 p.m. Whatever it is, make it small enough to win, because discipline is built through wins. Tiny, daily victories that stack up over time. And the more you win, the more your confidence grows. You start to believe in your own word again. That's where momentum comes from. Most people don't lack ability. They lack structure. They live life reactively instead of intentionally. They let their emotions lead, and emotions are terrible leaders. But when you install discipline, you give your life a foundation, a framework, a rhythm. You stop being a slave to mood and become the master of your day. And when you string enough disciplined days together, something magical happens. Your identity changes. You stop saying, "I'm trying," and start saying, "This is just who I am now." That shift from effort to identity is the beginning of permanent change. No one can give you discipline. It can't be gifted, taught, or forced. It must be chosen. Chosen again and again in moments of weakness, in times of temptation, when you're tired, bored, stressed, discouraged. Discipline is not a one-time act. It's a decision made repeatedly in silence, in solitude, when the world isn't watching. And that's why so few people have it, because it requires something deeper than motivation. It requires resolve. The decision that you are no longer going to let your life be controlled by what's easy or what's popular, but by what's necessary. Your environment matters more than you think. The people you spend time with, the conversations you allow, the energy you absorb. These things shape you quietly and consistently. You may not notice it day to day, but over time, the influence becomes powerful. If you're surrounded by people who complain all the time, you'll start to find something to complain about. If you're surrounded by those who make excuses, you'll start lowering your standards. It's not always dramatic. It's subtle, a slow erosion of excellence. That's the danger of a weak environment. It convinces you that average is acceptable. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned was this: You don't just catch people's habits, you catch their thinking. If you're around small thinkers, you'll start shrinking your dreams. If the conversations around you are always about gossip, problems, and limitations, you'll start operating from that same low energy. But if you're around people who talk about vision, discipline, goals, and execution, your mind will rise to match. You don't just rise to your goals, you rise to the level of your environment. Too many people try to grow in soil that doesn't support growth. They wonder why their mindset hasn't changed, why their motivation keeps fading, why their goals stay on paper. But you can't plant seeds in concrete and expect fruit. You can't keep surrounding yourself with people who don't believe in growth and expect to thrive. Sometimes the hardest part of change isn't the new habits. It's letting go of the old crowd. That's a painful truth, but a necessary one. You can love people from a distance and still protect your energy. Every conversation you entertain is either feeding your future or feeding your fear. And when you're trying to change your life, you have to be careful with your inputs. The words you hear most become the thoughts you think most. If you want to be more confident, spend time with those who speak life into you, not those who remind you of every past mistake. If you want to be more disciplined, get around those who honor their word, who keep their routines, who value time. If you want to be more ambitious, spend time with dreamers who take action, not just those who talk a big game. You have to audit your environment the same way a builder inspects the foundation of a house. Check it for cracks. Is there someone in your circle who drains your energy every time they speak? Someone who laughs at your ambition or makes you feel guilty for trying to improve? That's a red flag. The people around you should challenge you, not choke you. They should push you forward, not pull you down. And if you don't have those kinds of people, then be that person for yourself until you find them. Read the books. Listen to the mentors. Follow the leaders who have walked the path you're trying to walk. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. You don't need to cut people off out of anger. You simply need to choose proximity wisely. Who you give your time and attention to is one of the greatest investments you'll ever make. And if you're serious about changing your life, that investment must be strategic. Protect your focus like a fortress. Guard your peace like a treasure, because one conversation can plant doubt and another can plant belief. One joke at your expense can make you second guess yourself for days. One careless comment can kill momentum. And if you let those voices in consistently, they become your inner voice. They become the narration of your life. We become the average of the people we associate with, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So ask yourself, are the people around you sharpening you or dulling you? Are you growing in their presence, or are you shrinking to make them comfortable? Are you becoming more disciplined, more focused, more energized, or more distracted and discouraged? The answers to those questions reveal whether your environment is helping you evolve or keeping you stuck. And don't just look at people. Look at the content you consume. Your phone is a doorway. Every scroll, every post, every video you watch is speaking to your mind. What you allow in consistently becomes who you are eventually. Are you feeding your mind with wisdom or nonsense? Are you learning something every day or just escaping? It's not that you can never relax, but when distraction becomes your default, growth takes a backseat. So build an environment that supports your future. Create space for thinking, for learning, for silence. Fill your world with the kind of language, energy, and intention that makes discipline easier. That makes focus feel normal. That makes growth the standard, because once you change your environment, everything else gets easier. Your habits improve, your standards rise, your vision becomes clearer, and most importantly, you no longer have to fight for momentum. It becomes the natural rhythm of your life. Time is not just something you manage. It is the most valuable currency you will ever own. And unlike money, once it's spent, there's no earning it back. You can rebuild a business. You can restore your health. You can repair relationships. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. And yet, it's the one resource most people throw away without a second thought. They waste it scrolling. They waste it overthinking. They waste it waiting for the right moment. But let me ask you this: what are you doing with your hours? And more importantly, what are those hours doing to you? People talk about not having enough time, but the truth is, time isn't the issue. Focus is. Discipline is. Priorities are. Everyone has 24 hours. The difference is how we use them. Some people use them to build, and others use them to escape. And that decision, repeated daily, determines the quality of your life. You don't need more hours in the day. You need more clarity. You need to know exactly where your time is going, because if you don't track it, you'll lose it. It will disappear into habits that serve no purpose, into conversations that lead nowhere, into distractions that look like rest, but only leave you more drained. It's easy to forget how limited our time is, because we think in terms of days and weeks, months and years. But when you zoom out, you realize life is made of moments, of minutes, of choices, and every choice is a trade. When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. When you choose comfort, you're sacrificing growth. When you choose distraction, you're sacrificing depth. And the scariest part, most people won't realize what they gave up until it's too late. There's a phrase I used to remind myself of constantly: don't mistake movement for progress. Being busy is not the same as being effective. You can fill your day with tasks and still be going in circles. You can attend meetings, answer emails, scroll through content that feels productive, and still make no real progress toward the life you want. That's why intentional time matters. You have to ask yourself, what am I building with the time I've been given? Is what I'm doing today getting me closer to the life I say I want? And you can't manage your time until you manage your mind. Because time is lost not just in bad schedules, but in bad thinking, in procrastination, perfectionism, indecision. Some people waste hours just thinking about what to do and never actually do it. Others spend their days waiting to feel ready, waiting for the perfect mood, waiting for approval. But life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause for your emotions to catch up. You have to move even when you don't feel like it, because momentum is what pulls you out of hesitation. The biggest thief of time today is not work. It's distraction. It's that little device in your hand that steals your attention one notification at a time. It's the habit of constantly checking, constantly reacting, constantly numbing. You pick up your phone to check one message and suddenly 30 minutes are gone. You watch one video and somehow an hour disappears. And the cost is not just time. It's focus, it's energy, it's your ability to be present with your goals. The world is loud, but your dreams require silence. They require deep, uninterrupted time where your mind is fully engaged, where your energy is aligned, where your thoughts are not scattered between 10 different tabs. When you begin treating time like gold, your life starts to look different. You stop tolerating interruptions. You start scheduling your priorities instead of prioritizing your schedule. You start saying no, not out of arrogance, but out of respect for your vision. Because not everything deserves your time. Not every invite, not every comment, not every opportunity is aligned with your mission. And if you say yes to everything, you'll end up moving in no clear direction. Time is also the ultimate revealer of values. You can say what matters to you, but your calendar tells the truth. If you say your health matters, but there's no time for exercise, the truth is, it doesn't matter enough. Family, matters, but your nat attention is always nal somewhere else. The truth is buried in your behavior. Your values are not in your words, they are in your routine. And your routine is built one choice at a time. You must begin to treat each day as if it counts, because it does. You don't get to rewind. You don't get to relive today. The conversations you ignore, the work you avoid, the habits you delay, they all leave a mark. Time is the great equalizer. It levels the playing field. It doesn't matter where you started. What matters is how you use the time you have left. You can redeem it. You can redesign your hours. You can choose right now to stop wasting time on things that do nothing for your future and start investing time in things that build something better. If you're truly serious about changing your life, then understand this. Nothing will happen by accident. Change is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. You must choose to grow. You must choose to become more. You must choose discipline over comfort, intention over distraction, and alignment over approval. Your life will begin to shift the moment you decide that the old version of you is no longer acceptable. You don't need to wait for a perfect time. Now is the time. You don't need to know everything, just take the first step. Build your life like a craftsman with patience, consistency, and care. Audit your environment, sharpen your skills, master your minutes, and hold yourself to higher standards than the world demands. Because the world will not give you what you want. It will give you what you've earned through your daily decisions. The future is not a place you arrive at by accident. It is built moment by moment, hour by hour, decision by decision. So build wisely, live intentionally, and remember, your life does not get better until you do.